Alright, y'all, we gonna start with the first DIY. I bought this soap dispenser at a yard sale and I love the design but did not like the color. And so I decided to change the color. I'm going to use my Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster. And I'm just going to give it one thick coat. And that's all it will take is just one coat. If you don't get down the little crevices, it's going to be fine. But just looking at it, it's looking so much better. Just that one coat. It's bringing out details. It's bringing out everything about this. I love the Waverly paints, and I'm glad that my Walmart is still carrying the Waverly sets. Y'all, this is my first crafting video, and I'm very excited to bring it to you. I love crafting. I've been crafting for a few good years now, and I never thought to make videos showing my crafts. See the difference in the soap dispenser now. And give it a little more paint. And like I said, all it takes is one coat. And this is what it looks like after I've painted it. Like I said, if you don't get down in the crevices, that's fine. It just brings out, you know, more of the beauty. Sometimes imperfection is perfection. Now I'm going over it with the Apple Barrel Black acrylic paint. And it brings out all the details. I just give it a good dry brushing. And the paint brushes that I use are the paint brushes that you use normally to paint a house with. But I love to paint my crafts with these paint brushes. And you can also take these paint brushes and take scissors and cut them and make them into your own little chippy brush. And it's a whole lot more cheaper than going to Walmart or Michael's, AC Moore's, anywhere like that to buy a chippy brush. See the detailing in the soap dispenser already? Oh, I love it. And this decor right here, the paint, the color, everything will go so good in my upstairs bathroom. It gives it that rustic French farmhouse, like shabby chic type vibes. That's what I'm getting out of it, and I love it. The top part, when I bought the soap dispenser, the top was broke, so we can replace that easy. This next DIY, I'm going to take this foam pumpkin I got from the Dollar Tree, take the stem out the top, and paint it with the Waverly White chalk paint. And I'm going to just give it one coat. And I'm going to try this little brush that I bought at the Dollar Tree. And I don't really understand or know what this little brush is for, but it wasn't working out. So I switched back to my regular paintbrush, and it went a lot smoother. And like I said, I'm just going to give this one coat. And if the orange seeps through, it'll be fine, because this right here is going to act for our base coat for the color that I will be using on this pumpkin. And to hold the pumpkin, because I was getting paint all over my hands, but it's fine. It doesn't bother me to get my hands a little dirty. But all I did was take a smaller paintbrush and use the handle as a stick. It worked fine. It fit perfect. And I know I got getting a little close to the camera. I'm still trying to learn how to do the filming and everything. Y'all just bear with me on it. But you can see how the paint is going over. There's, like I said, little pieces of the pumpkin that the paint just was not going on. But it's all right. It's fine. Like I said, this is our base coat for the paint that we are going to use. And now that I'm done painting this, I'm just going to let it dry. And when it becomes completely dry, this is what it's going to look like. And now I painted the stem brown. I used Behr Brown by Folk Art. I believe it was, yes, it was Folk Art paint, Behr Brown. And here's the color that we're going to put on the pumpkin, Folk Art turquoise. I can't even pronounce it, y'all. But anyways, you know what color this is. It is a beautiful blue-green color. I love this color, even though I can't pronounce it. And I'm going to give it one coat. I'm trying this new paintbrush that I had bought at the Dollar Tree. And it was not really working out for me. So I'm going to give it one more try. I didn't like the way it was painting on my project. It just wasn't painting it quick enough. It wasn't saturating the paint good enough. I had to actually put a lot of paint on this paintbrush. So I switched back to my good old house painting brush. And it went quicker. It gives you more of a coverage. It puts more paint on one layer. So I'm just going to paint one layer of this paint onto my pumpkin. Like I said, y'all, this is my first video, and I'm not very good with the editing and all that, and hopefully in time I'll get better at editing my videos and giving you, music to listen to in between watching. But, yeah, it'll come in time. It'll be fine. And that color is just so beautiful. I love the color. I love teal. I love anything that's like a blue-green color, mint color, anything like that. I just love it. One thing I do love about when painting with acrylic, I love chalk paint. Don't get me wrong. I do love chalk paint more than acrylic when it comes to the coverage on my crafts, but when it comes to washing the stuff off your hands, the acrylic comes off a whole lot better. But here's what it's looking like right now, and letting it dry. Now that it's dry, the camera is just not doing it any justice. We're going to pop that stem back in there, making sure it's nice in there and secure. And then we are going to go ahead and take the Waverly wax, antique wax. And I'm going to just go ahead and take a little paintbrush and paint down into the little creases of the pumpkin and give it a little bit of a dirty look. You know when you go to a pumpkin patch, how when you're picking up a pumpkin, it's got that little bit of a dirt, little bit dusty look on it. I just love that look. And I believe that this antique wax looks so good against this beautiful color. Now, instead of taking a paper towel, when you are trying to get this into the crevices of the pumpkin, the little creases, instead of taking a paper towel that will get it mostly off, you want to take your finger and just kind of smear it down, and that will give it the shading that you want, the amount that you want in each of the little creases. And you want to do this all the way around your pumpkin. And I don't know why I skipped over that crease, but I'm going back to it. Sorry about all the popping in the background. I had surgery, and I have to get up every so often and move around a little bit. But there is the pumpkin finished with the painting. And I think it needs a little bit more something. So I'm going to take my twine rope that I got at the Dollar Tree. You can find the spool of the twine in the automotive section. And I'm going to take a big section of it, because if you get a little too much, it's fine. It won't hurt anything. You just cut off the excess and save it for later for something else, like a little bow or a little flower or something. So I'm going to take my rope here, and I'm going to start right here at the bottom, and I'm going to hot glue the twine on my pumpkin. And we're going to go straight into the creases. And you're just going to wrap your twine rope around your pumpkin, getting into the creases. Not super, super tight, but you want it snug. You don't want the twine rope loose at all. You want it to be good and snug. And then when you get to the end, you're just going to hot glue the end of it, snip off the excess, and there you go. And I think that is so beautiful. I love this pumpkin. And then you just take your stem, find the middle of the rope, and just push it down into there until you get the stem snug, and that will hold. And if you want to, you can always put hot glue or super glue down into the hole before you put your stem down in there. But mine has held up. And I'm looking for a leaf or something to put on there. I found some leaves I'm going to try out. Excuse me, y'all. Here's a big leaf, and I don't know if I want to use the big leaf or the two small leaves, so I'm going to take the Antique Wax by Waverly, and I'm going to take my little paintbrush that I used on the pumpkin, and I'm going to use this on the leaves, and I'm going to give it a dirty look. And it's going to take about maybe 2 coats of the Waverly. I believe I put 2 coats on there. And you just want to get how much you want, where you want, just to, do it the way you want to do it the way you like. I tried using it all over the leaf to make it look like, the pumpkin had been sitting out in the pumpkin patch. And the leaves are dirty from, the animals and, nature taking its course, wind blowing. And that's what it looks like with the 1 coat. And it just doesn't bring it out too much, so I'm going in with another coat of the Antique Wax. Now you can use orange. You can use reds, blues, pinks, whatever color that you would want to, yellows. And that's what I had thought after I had done this. I thought I could have used a little bit of color into it, but it's fine. It will, I'll think I'll do that the next time, but I blotted it to get some of the glossiness out of it. So I decided to use the 2 little leaves on this one and not the big one. So I'm just placing it to see how I like it. And I like it right there. So I'm going to try this big one. And like I said, I like the 2 little ones myself. But if you like the one big leaf, you can go with that. Going back to the 2 little leaves, and I'm satisfied and happy with the 2 little leaves on there instead of the big one. So I'm just going to take my hot glue and I'm going to hot glue those down into where the stem meets the pumpkin. And I'm going to use a little tool that I have got from, or no, did I use, maybe I used my paintbrush. I can't remember. Oh, yep, I used my paintbrush. Use the tip of it to push that down into where my stem went into my pumpkin, and it brought the leaves up really beautiful. And that's all there is for that one. I just absolutely love this pumpkin. I think it is so gorgeous. And for our next pumpkin, we're going to remove the stem. I'm going to take this little embroidery tool that I got from the Dollar Tree and just poke a hole into the top where I took the stem out. If you don't have an embroidery tool, you can always use the end of your paintbrush or your pinky finger, whichever. Now you could use tweezers, but I wouldn't use the sharp end. I would just use the back end of it, or however you want to call it. But right there I'm showing you that in these foam pumpkins, they have a little metal piece, and I don't know why, but there's always this little metal piece right down at the bottom. And I bought this little piercing tool from the Dollar Tree, and I absolutely love it. I use it for everything. It's got a sharp side, and you have to be really careful with it. And it's got this, like, I call it like a little spatula, butter knife looking side to it. You could take that, cut out the bottom of your pumpkin and remove. It takes a little bit of force, but you can get that little metal piece out of your foam pumpkin. And that is exactly what I'm going for, is a hole in the bottom of my pumpkin. And you can stick your thumb in there or anything to make sure. Now I'm taking this ribbon. It's a blue, I keep wanting to say burlap. It's not burlap. It'll come to me in a little bit, y'all. The farmhouse checker pattern. Why is my mind blank today? Oh, Lord. I'm so sorry, y'all. But anyways, I take and I measure from the front to the back. And then I just take and cut pieces of my ribbon. And I actually can't remember how many I used, but I know I used quite a bit of ribbon for this project. And it is so beautiful. Buffalo check. I knew it would come to me. So what you want to do is you want to start at the bottom, put you some glue, tuck your ribbon into the hole, and I just use my little piercing tool and bring it up to the top. Add your glue into that hole and push your ribbon down in to the hole. Now I should have cut it, trimmed it off a little, but you know, I wasn't thinking. I went ahead and done it. It worked. It's fine. But you just want to continue putting more ribbon around. You want to try to keep it overlapped a little on the sides. You don't want any of this orange pumpkin to show. So you just want to push that on down in there and make sure it's secure. And you got to be careful because that super glue, or not super glue, I'm so sorry, y'all. The hot glue wants to kind of stick to your little tool. And then it wants to stick to your fingers. But it's okay. It's easy cleanup. And this is what you want to do. You want to just keep going around until you get the whole pumpkin covered. Isn't that beautiful? I just absolutely love it. Now the stem, I pushed it back down in to my pumpkin. I hot glued it so it would stay and it wouldn't pop out. So now I'm thinking, the green needs to be covered. So I'm going to take some hot glue, go around the stem, take my twine rope and wrap it around my stem. Almost like a faux wood type, make it look a little bit more farmhouse, rustic, with a little bit of modern. So I wrapped it around. It was a little loose, so I just took my fingers and tightened it up. Got halfway up the stem and hot glued it there. And I'm coming up around. And I couldn't find my little finger protectors, to protect from the hot glue. But it came around and it did nicely. I had a little bit of trouble right there, trying to get it to go completely around. But I will get it. It just takes time and patience. Time, patience, and a whole lot of burnt fingers. But you just let that dry and you cut off the excess of the rope. Make sure that's on there good, secure. And if it has a little pop-up like right, well, it didn't, I don't think it showed in the camera, but I had a little bit of a pop-up right there, but that's an easy fix. You just put a little bit more hot glue in it and just press down your rope. And if you get hot glue on your tools or your paintbrushes, it is an easy fix. You can get that off easily and safely. Well, I'm going to take this real beautiful fall leaf and I'm going to just glue that right here at the bottom of the stem. Press it down and voila. Beautiful ribbon pumpkin. I'm telling you, my words just are not coming together today. But that is just beautiful. And if you can hear my husband and my 5-year-old in the background, I do apologize. My 5-year-old, he gets a little excited when he gets up in the mornings. He's just so happy and full of energy. And I just absolutely love it. And here he comes. Go ahead, buddy. All right. And then my dog, you can hear him in the background. But here's my 2 pumpkins side by side. And I think I may display these in my living room. Yeah, there's my dog. His name is Beast. He likes to whine and bark. But, yep, there's my pumpkins on my coffee table. There's a picture frame box that I made here about a couple of months ago. Another pumpkin I made after I had my surgery. I got bored and I wanted to paint something. And I want to give a big thank you to y'all. Thank you for watching. This is, like I said, my first video. Hopefully I will have more to come. Thanks. Later.